going to try to create a container inside of Proxmox. Containers are great because they allow you to virtualize or parts of a operating system instead of the full operating system. This allows you to have lighter resource load on your virtualization server. If you're anything like me, this is good because you're built your virtualization server on old hardware so that you could learn, and you don't really have a lot of resources to run things. So the first thing you do after getting to your Proxmox web interface is click on PVE. Once you've clicked on PVE, you click Create CT. It's going to come up with your node, which should be PVE, your ID number. We'll call this host name. Can be anything. I'm going to call this Pi hole 2. That's going to be for a later video that I plan on creating. Set your password, and you're going to type your password in again. And make sure they're the same length as each other. Okay, I'm not going to use an SSH public key. I highly suggest if you're using SSH that you do load a key file. Storage is going to work. This is where you're going to load your template from for your container. And I am going to select Ubuntu 19 from the drop-down. Click Next. 8 gigs will be plenty. CPU 1 will be plenty. Memory, let's just give this a gig. Swap 512, that'll be plenty. Now, swap means that you can share this memory with other containers and virtualized machines inside of Proxmox. Network configurations, unlike a virtual machine, you're going to have to set an IP address. I'm going to use 10.10.2, and we'll call this 233, so it's outside of the DHCP range on my network. And now you have to also set a subnet mask, which I'm going to use 24. My gateway is going to be 10.10.2.1. And we can click. Now, if you go over here to DHCP, it will set a IP address base from your DHCP server. I'm going to go with static because this will be a server and I want to be able to communicate with this afterwards. DNS settings, I'm going to leave alone. They're going to use whatever's configured in your DHCP server. My configuration, that looks all good. And we click Finished. Now this is going to go through, and when it's done, we should see it say finished. Oh, never mind. Task OK. Now your container is created. Now there's one more thing I should show you, which is actually how to download that image that we use to create the container. To create the image that we need for the container, we're going to go to PVE, and we'll go to shell. Now, the first command we're going to do is an update command. Okay. Now we're going to view a list of the available images. Now, as we can see, there's a lot of different ones. Some of these turnkey ones are pretty cool. There's a bunch of different ones in here. I believe I saw one earlier for creating a Mumble server. There's some file servers. There's an Open VPN server. A lot of different containers that you can use for a lot of different things, and they're fairly easy to set up. In a later video, maybe I'll take you through setting one of these up. The one we're going to care about is Ubuntu 19.10. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter the command of download in here, and then we're going to pick the image name and we'll copy it. Now we'll move down. We need to make sure we have a space, and we can paste that in. And when we press enter, it's going to download the image. Now, as you can see, and as you already knew before, we already have that downloaded. So it gives me an error message. But if we didn't have it downloaded, you would see it go ahead and download. Have a good night.